where we are indecisive, indiscriminate, and completely batshit. Like, we don't know what the fuck we're talking about, as evidenced by last episode, and the fact that I have accidentally named the past 4 or 5 episodes episode 23. So we would just go.
Jay ruined
Well,
it. I
we would
still
just
think if
say
we'd released 23 episodes called episode 23, we would have gotten out the Matrix. I think that would have done it. We've
I
tried
feel
many
like
ways over the years.
I know. I feel like that might have been the way, but there is celebration, and I'm starting the countdown now. Not because it's a stupid number, because usually when you do a countdown, you start from 10 or you start from 5. This being me liking even numbers, we're starting from 4, and this is the countdown to our 100th episode.
So why didn't you start last time from 5? 5's a round number. It's a multiple of 5. It's a common round number.
For two reasons.
One you
Number
forgot.
one, I like even numbers. Number two, I clean forgot until Jay
Yeah.
mentioned it.
So we're nearly at 100th episode. What, 100th episode of this season?
100th episode altogether. I'd be worried if it was 100th episode this season, otherwise we really have done 23
Man,
episodes of
I do
episode
not know
23.
what we are doing. I don't know what's going on. I barely know what day it is.
Well, we're up to season 3.
I changed my watch face to
it's
have the
100
date because I keep forgetting what day it is.
Nah, my watch face has the date. My watch face is really annoying because it's got the date on it, but whenever I play music or anything like that, that covers the date because it just
Yeah.
comes up with a little symbol saying it's playing music. So it's
I
really
never
fucking annoying.
put it through my watch.
Wait, it's not even that. It's just because it's connected to my phone via Bluetooth. If my phone's playing music, it'll have a little music symbol there telling us my phone's playing music.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'll talk to you later. You can change settings. I turned that off so that it just stays on my watch face. It's all good
Fair.
because I play music in the car through my phone.
That's it.
Mine. I've got the date, the time, what power I've got, messages that people are sending, a low battery notification. Right, everything's popping up right now, and my pulse, so I can see how annoyed I am at all the messages.
I say my watch face, my default watch face is just a watch face with the date at the bottom, how many steps I've done to the right, my battery in the middle, and then on the far left, if I get a notification, it comes up as like a little orange dot. That's it.
Well, since we've immediately gotten off topic,
But there was no topic to begin with yet, so
well, I'm gonna use watch to pull you onto topic.
Okay, go for it.
So as we know, the rap legend that is Coolio, who was also a big crackers, died earlier in the week. I've got topical conversations here, Kyle. I've got 2 recent events. It's weird. It's almost
know,
like we're starting again. We got way off track. I'm not
Yeah,
trying to bring it back. I just
at the start, we tried to do current news. It
Yeah.
went downhill very quickly when we started talking about news that happened 20 years ago, and then we just sort of abandoned ship and went on to random shit. So,
So there was once. It's a today I learned type of thing, but it was actually about 3 days ago I learned that Coolio was once injured during a gig in Stoke-on-Trent.
why was he in Stoke-on-Trent?
He was doing a gig.
Well,
Right.
I gathered that, but why? Usually when people do
Uh-huh.
worldwide tours and stuff from America, they go to London, and that's about it. When they come to England, maybe Newcastle or
I
Manchester.
don't know, man. But basically, it says after stage dive into the audience went wrong. Now, stage diving's a thing in America. Stage diving's a big thing in America,
In
and you can get
England, nobody gives a fuck.
well. You can. I feel like you can get away with it in England from certain things. So I feel like if you're at I feel like rock bands can get away with it definitely in England.
Yeah, but that's if they haven't started a mosh pit first.
But rappers, I mean, let's be
I've
honest. Most people going to rap concerts in England are just chavs, and I listen to rap, and I know that.
I've never seen what a rap concert looks like. I've never seen what does the audience just sit there bobbing their head or something? I don't know.
I mean,
Like
I don't know, man.
in
But
in
this
in,
is
in classical, you're sitting in a theater and you've got your binoculars and everything. In rock, you've got all the metal heads slamming against each other in a mosh pit and stuff. What do you do at a rap concert?
I don't know, but because this is England and because there probably were chavs, we done our nation proud because we couldn't just step aside and let him fall flat on his face.
Flat on
No,
his face.
dude. Right. First of all, that was by accident, and second of all, that is I'd flagged this up when we done our own words we've made up by accident, and I've done flace once, and you've done it twice, so it's even now. Apparently, it's a common thing for us.
Yeah, apparently. Fuck it.
But this is absolutely brilliant. Um, so being in England, we couldn't just let him fall on his face. We couldn't just be like, we're not going to catch you. There had to be more to it.
Of course. Did someone
So
glass him on the way down or some shit?
he left into the crowd. He didn't
You're
leap into the
stuck
cloud.
on
That would have been a
L's.
good leap, dude. No, I'm tired, man.
He's leaped into the clouds now because he's fucked off.
Well, maybe it's foreshadowing. Anyway, a witness at the event said Coolio nearly flattened one poor girl. Then all the students decided to launch on him. They grabbed whatever they could, beat the shit out of him. It took his trainers, his watches, changed his glasses, and he was pulled back on the stage by bouncers. They managed to get his shoes back from him, though. So not only did we not catch him, we kicked the fuck out of him and stole his shoes.
We kicked the fuck out of him and mugged him in the middle of a fucking gig.
Yes, my heroes. Yeah, I'm going to see good music. We're going stage dive. Quick, he's on the floor. Kick the shit out of him. Get his shoes.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
understand.
Let's steal his watch.
If anyone else is from like another nation here and is confused, I'm English and I don't understand most of the time.
I'm confused.
You're American.
So I'm born confused.
Jordan has joined us. I was just saying, Coolio.
Yeah.
He was once at a gig in Stoke-on-Trent, and he tried to do a stage dive. And this being England, we couldn't just not catch him. They also stepped out the way, kicked the shit out of him, and stole his shoes.
Typical English.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, to be fair, I was expecting you to say, like, people knew he was going to stage dive, so as he went to stage dive, they just, like, held out a stick or something, so he had to break through it. But I wasn't expecting him to just get the shit beat out.
Yeah, but apparently it's not the only time it happened, because apparently in 2015, at a festival in Switzerland, which, by the way, Switzerland, is there a more sedate nation than Switzerland?
I'm about to say, how can anything go wrong at a Swedish gig?
The band
Sorry, a
All
Swiss gig.
Motorsport.
They don't
The
do
band All
anything.
Motorsport, because of a couple of motorsport crashes in the thought. All motorsport's unsafe, so you're not allowed to do rally or Formula One. There's no open racetracks in Switzerland. They do hill climbing, that's it, because it's against the clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the band Motorsport refused to get involved in two world wars, but apparently when Travis Scott went there, which I don't blame them, I would have beat the shit out of him as well, but he did it, they kicked the shit out of him, and then they stole his £800 Yeezy shoes.
I still don't understand the whole fucking Yeezy shit.
I
But yeah.
don't know, man. Apparently it's the open air festival in Sweden. He jumped in the crowd as part of the performance, so he wasn't even stage diving, it was part of the performance. He was like, yeah, I'll go in the crowd and look cool. And they were like, yeah, shoes, thank you. Jordan, a
Thank you.
creature, has just...
A furry mammal has just wandered downstairs behind you.
Yeah, it's Bethany's sister's dog.
I thought you were about to finish there, just Bethany's sister.
Oh,
No.
dude.
Kyle, I value my life.
I was
I
going to
wouldn't
say...
dare.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah. So I learned, apparently, don't stage dive or don't go to the crowd if you're a rapper.
I mean, just
That's what I've learned,
why would you stage dive while you're a rapper anyway? I mean,
I don't know, man. Especially don't do it in England. Just don't stage dive in England unless you're a rock star.
because that's the thing. Like, rock stars typically don't wear. I mean, they do wear jewelry and stuff, but a lot of the times they won't sit there showing off like a diamond encrusted watch with massive chain necklaces and stuff.
Yeah, that's
Rappers do that shit all the time.
Shoes.
Yeah, rappers do that shit all the time. Surely they should know if they dive into a crowd of people, they're trusting those people not to just turn around and go, "Thank you very much, I'll take that."
And generally, rock fans, idolize and or absolutely adore the fucking music or the band that they've went to see or listen to.
Yeah, hence why
So
they
you're
get
gonna-
bars and stuff chucked on stage.
Yeah, so they're gonna get that atmosphere. Rap, I feel like they have a different audience.
Just a little bit. I want to see a reggae stage dive. I want to see a reggae performer stage dive. That
No,
would
it
be
wouldn't
one
even be
real
a dive.
stage
Reggae is so relaxed to just walk over and just lie down at the end of the stage onto the crowd.
I'm about to say
That's just because the highest kite before performance.
Oh, God, Jordan,
we
true,
were being polite about it.
we haven't offended anybody so far. You've been here 3 minutes.
He's
I'm here for.
Typical American.
Admittedly, we've only been here 7 minutes before then, but we've managed.
Exactly.
You just would have eventually. I'm just quickening the process up.
But we're doing so well.
Yeah, we hadn't upset anyone.
No, man, I'd love to see that. Just a reggae stage dive where it's just tab in mouth, mic in hand, and just slowly, relaxfully just drops into the crowd. But then if the crowd's the same as them, they'll be too lazy to catch them, so they'll just flop on the floor.
Well, no, because they just wouldn't put their hands up. They'd be like that, and they'd just be on their heads.
Just bobbing along.
Yeah. Or they'd all be leaning, so they'd all actually be lying down. Right.
Yeah.
Come on, not like we've managed to not insult anyone, and then Jordan's insulted everyone. This is all Jordan's fault.
It
If
is.
anyone that listens to reggae or is a reggae fan is offended, it's your fault.
Mate,
It is.
Even if it's because of what we said you started.
I was just reacting to what was said.
I do have another current event.
Another one. Okay.
Yes. Do you know about the NASA double asteroid redirection test?
I do. It was known as it was a NASA shuttle nicknamed the Dart, and it was
Yes.
literally designed to stop It's a test, I think, to stop asteroids colliding with Earth. But
Yes.
it's at such a range where it's like none of the debris would fall to Earth.
Yeah, so I
Either.
don't know if you know about it, but I can't actually remember what I think maybe in 2010 or something. But there's some point in recent history where a asteroid was pretty much undetected. We noticed at the last minute when it was too late to do anything about, and
And
it
it came
flew
close.
between the Earth and the Moon.
Yeah.
And we were pretty much sitting thinking, well, I hope it was crashing when it didn't. So then they decided, well, we'll have to be able to be ready for this. But you know what's the best thing about this?
Is it the fact that the shuttle just looks like the traditional moon shuttles but gold, but the fact that it's just got a spiky bit on top?
I did like that it was gold, but no. You know what's even better than that? It does look like something out of Star Wars, to be fair.
It does.
The C-3PO spaceship.
It is.
The best thing about it is, if you open up Google, and it has to be Google, I've tested, it doesn't work on the others. Because I've got
Okay.
Bing on open on here, and it doesn't work. If you go on Google and just type in NASA DART mission, when you put in NASA D,
Yes.
it should come up. Click on it and watch what happens.
It comes across the screen and crashes and tilts it. It's amazing.
Yes! It's like when you Google a skew.
It's like the old school where... I know. I love Google's so good for that sort of shit, though, where you can just make it have little creatures on it and all that sort of stuff.
And I'm on my tablet here. It's just got Bing on it. It's not something I've ever retook any notes of. It works and I use it. But
Yeah.
up your game, Bing, because it doesn't do it on here. You've let us
It doesn't
down.
do it on any others. The thing that I love about it the most, right? It looks like a normal satellite, but with like off-kilter solar panels, so that it can like steer and everything, of course. But it is legitimately just a box with solar panel wings and a point on the front, and it's just right. Okay, you're going that way, bang,
Yeah.
and they just fire it towards. They do the calculations and everything, but it's like right. Okay, we're just going to fire this box with a payload at this thing, so it explodes on impact and makes it either fuck off or gets destroyed.
Hey man, it works though.
And the fact that it's redirection as well, so it's not even like they're putting a nuke in it and trying to destroy the asteroid or anything. It's just we're going to hit it with enough explosive force so that it goes that way a little bit. It goes left.
Did it work?
The test looked successful, but the fact that it was like 1 billion miles away or something. Huh?
Well, you can't say it didn't work then.
I want to know how much the trajectory changed though. Like, did it literally change it so that it would miss the Earth by like an Earth's width, or is it like half of an Earth so that it makes it a near miss, or like how much does it push it off by? Because I know the further away they hit it, the further it would go out. So
it would also
response,
depend on the size and speed of the asteroid. So if it was small enough that if you hit it so that it was just going to go past Earth, but it was going to get caught in gravity and get pulled in anyway, you would need more of a direct redirection. Whereas if
Yeah.
it was heavy or fast enough that it was just going to like come to it and we've got it to like angles that it just skimmed and it's going fast enough and it's heavy enough to keep momentum and just miss with, not get pulled into a gravitational field. I feel like it depends.
Yeah,
But
because
it was successful.
one of the main things that we have to do as well is make sure it misses the moon as well. So it's like we can't exactly make it just miss a little bit and just miss the moon. We'll have to make it so that it goes all the way past and
Yeah,
like skips the moon as well.
yeah, exactly. So,
Jordan, where's Beth? Because we can hear her.
yeah,
She's being very loud. Either that or your microphone's picking up
she's on
everything
the
in the
ceiling.
house.
No, just
Yeah, John, your mic's real loud.
in the bedroom. We've
We
said
can hear
chat
her louder than we can hear you.
with
Yeah.
Everly.
Noisy bastards. So yeah, I'll. That was my little tidbits of information for this episode. I'm not going to hijack it any longer. I will let you carry on,
Oh no,
unless you want us to. I've
I am going
discovered some
to.
things, but it might be a better video than a podcast.
Okay.
Although I
Well,
could just do it anyway.
I am just going to talk about space a bit more anyway. So if it's anything to do with space, you can go ahead if you want.
Can we talk about the fact that Jay has been going through old podcast recordings and he's realised that me and you have dedicated a couple of podcasts to solving mysteries, so now we might legit at some point make a spin-off podcast, just us two.
I mean, yes,
We definitely solved some mysteries there, by the way.
we did. We 100% did. Even if even if Jay is insisting on making it sound like we unsolved mysteries as if we're some
Yeah.
mad conspiracy theorists.
He's making it sound like we've got stuff that's been solved and said it wasn't. Although, you know, I've been known to do that before as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you are an advocate for pigeons being robot spies, and which country doesn't exist?
Finland doesn't exist, man. And JFK was actually shot by the CIA agent that got in front of him, but we'll gloss over that one.
Despite the fact that you absolutely love the fucking what you might call it, the Kimmy, the
The
Finnish
Kimmy.
god, the Kimmy. There is no other Kimmy. There is just the Kimmy.
There is just the Kimmy, but that's not the point. Dude,
It's
Finland's just different.
it's because my brain was going for the flying Finn, but that's Boas's nickname,
So
not
many
Kimmy.
successful drivers and rally drivers and Formula One drivers come from Finland, and
Of
it's
course,
such
you've
a
got
small
Hakkinen
nation.
as well.
Yeah, and they don't give a shit about anything because they have Sisu.
It's because yeah, exactly. Sisu.
It's all about the Sisu,
It's just
which is
all
a
about
made-up
the
word
not
from a
giving
made-up
flying
nation.
fuck.
It's just a bit of fucking Sweden, right? These people are not human.
They are human.
They're not. You can't even get a conversation out with them because they haven't been programmed with speech skills properly.
I mean,
That's my theory.
that does kind of do it, yeah.
Yeah, they haven't been programmed for social interaction. They're my ideal people.
Can I go and live in Finland? I want to live in
Are you
Finland.
sure
It doesn't
you-
exist.
Are
It's a
you sure-
Japanese fishing colony. You'll be living in the sea, or you'll be living in the north of Sweden.
It'll do
Deal. I'm happy with that. Deal. Means I can have every conversation with someone. I can just go yes, no.
What do you mean
That's
every
it.
conversation? They don't have conversations.
Exactly.
They just
Someone
have
else,
matter-of-fact interactions.
someone that comes over and asks us questions. I can just answer every question with a yes or no, and that's it. Not extend the answer or anything.
Do you know what would be interesting though? Imagine if you turned up to the scene of a, you turn up in this country, so that say you're driving to work and there's been an accident on the road, and the police get there and there's been a 4-car pile up and people are injured and stuff, and they're like, right, what happened? And everybody gives a statement and the police have to write down lots of things and then it takes hours to reopen the road. You'd get there in Finland, you go, right, what happened? You go, I crashed, and he would go, well, he crashed into us, and then he would go, well, he crashed into him, and then they go, right, no bother, clear everything up. You'd be going within half an hour because they would just go, what happened? I crashed. That's it. That's all that happened.
You'd be gone in like 10 minutes. They would
That
just
is
call
my
a
statement.
tow
And everybody else's statement would just be, he crashed.
truck. Yeah, basically, it's so matter of fact. I love it.
That's brilliant. Imagine how short court cases are in Finland.
That's what we
Guilty.
should do. We should just travel to Finland and investigate this and just see how much of a conversation we can have with a Finnish person.
Oh man, just Scandinavia in general, but especially Finland.
Yeah,
Scandinavians are not very verbose, are they?
yeah. Like you said, a Finnish courtroom. Did you do it?
No.
No.
Guilty.
Did you see him do it? Yes. Did you see him do it? Yes. Guilty. There we go. Done.
Imagine a Finnish courtroom drama. You'd have a half-hour episode. You would solve 15 crimes in the first episode.
You would. Move over, Judge Judy. I want to see a fucking Finnish courtroom.
You can probably YouTube it.
Is she even on TV? I'm sure she's been going since like the 80s or something.
I don't
she
know
still
what
is
the
on
fuck's going on.
TV.
Don't we have a British version?
We've got this. Don't we have the really camp guy who's like over?
Yeah,
Judge Rinder,
that's him.
Judge Rinder, aka Judge Grinder.
who's not
Kyle-
actually a proper judge.
Is he not?
He doesn't even
Apparently not. I don't know if this is a thing or not.
He doesn't even do proper fucking crimes. It's basically domestic.
Let's not defame people on my podcast, Jordan.
This is, to be fair, this is the thing. They wouldn't really be able to
Jesus.
show the crimes, like the proper crimes, because
They wouldn't be able to show the crimes. What, you
Well-
think they work out who the serial killer is and just follow him for a few weeks going, look, this is what he's done.
well, you know what I meant though. They wouldn't be able to show the actual proper court
No, but-
cases, the important ones, the like the murders and
And
stuff
not
like
in the
that.
UK.
Because too many people would
It's,
get
it's
offended.
basically petty court that he does. It's like
It's
all
what
the money.
it's what everybody does though. It's what
Yeah,
Judge
because
Judy does.
they
Judge
can't-
Judy had a fucking. He was on my farm. No, he was on my farm.
Yeah,
That's all
but
it is.
in America, it doesn't matter what court it is. You can have a you can record in England. You can't record in the courtroom, especially in a crown court. So that's why they still have sketch artists who make
That's
people
why-
look like.
I like with the
Ducks
Johnny
that have
Depp
been
Amber Heard
punched
thing,
in the
it
face.
wasn't the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. It wasn't when it was done in the UK. They weren't allowed to show it on YouTube and places like that. But when it was in America, the last court case, it was a big thing. Big thing. They got all like 2 weeks of it.
I mean, we got it over here, but that's because we stole all the American clips and stuff. But
Yeah, it's because it was on YouTube.
that's the
Yeah.
stupid thing. Apparently, someone's making a film of it, dude. But that's the really stupid thing.
Johnny
Honestly,
Depp playing Johnny Depp.
No, it was some knockoff guy, but he looked like he was trying to be Johnny Depp, but he looked more like the Salt Bay guy from the memes. but
To be fair, Johnny Depp looked like that in that court case, but we'll brush over that.
true.
Leave Johnny Depp alone.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I've always wondered, why do we still do the sketch artists where they can't actually do a proper sketch of the person? Like, I know it's because they don't have that much time because they're in the courtroom.
They don't,
for
dude.
hours.
How long do court cases go on for? Days? What do you mean they don't have enough time?
I know, but I'm sure the sketch artist only does it like one sketch for one day, and that's it. Like, they
No,
don't
why?
continuously
Just
do
let-
the sketch.
Even a day, man.
I don't know. They never seem that good. Like, surely you should just be able to
I
go,
know.
camera, there you go. Like,
No,
surely,
no, no. You're not allowed to record or photograph in British courtrooms.
Yes, however, most places that have that have a separate rule where it's unless you are an employee of the court,
No,
or
no.
unless you are like a specified, you are a photographer employed by the court for the specific case of taking the mugshots of the people.
No, you're not allowed. You are not allowed by law, British courtrooms, to take any recording or camera equipment.
Unless there's permission given.
No, you're not allowed.
I'm
That's
sure
why
there was
there's
one
been no
recently.
televised courtrooms or photographs. That's why they still use sketch artists and what do you call them?
Secretaries.
Why- I just
Typewriters.
a lot more like Stevie Wonder, to be honest. But
I
do
mean,
you
you
call them?
did.
transcribers, is that what they're called?
Transcribe it, yeah.
Transcriptors.
Yeah.
Transcriptionists.
Yeah. They're the one. Something like that.
The
It's
people
something
that
like
type what everyone says, and then they go strike that from the record, and they go phew.
Scribe.
Scribes.
I mean, scribes just write what people say, so more
Why?
modern version of that.
Why do I think that a scribe is like scratching, like etching? Why is that always in my head? Isn't
I
there a
don't know,
tool
like-
called a scribe that's for etching?
There is, and a scribe used to be the person in the medieval times where like people would dictate to them and they would write
Oh, I know
letters
that.
for you and
Just a
stuff.
writer.
So, yeah, basically.
But in my head, it's always engraving something.
I mean, it's a fancier version of
Does
being
that mean a
scribe, I suppose.
tattoo artist is a scribe for humans? If
Technically,
it's engraving, is a tattoo a human engraving?
yes.
You're not removing the flesh, are you?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
There's the thing, because it can't be classed as you're painting the human because it's going into it. You can't be classed as engraving because, I mean, technically you are going into.
Inscribing?
Technically, you are engraving because you're going into the flesh. You're like causing damage to the skin in order to inscribe. You are technically.
Jordan
I
has
don't
been
know.
engraved.
Yes. With the worst freaking thing in the world.
Kyle, you're so much hate for that tattoo. It's not even a bad tattoo, it's just that you don't like where it is and how it is.
I didn't originally want it there.
Where do
I
you
know
want it
you
on your
did.
head?
That's the thing
That part.
that I think that's the part that annoys me the most is the fact that you didn't even fucking want it there, but you ended up with it there.
Why is it there then?
Because the person that did it turned around and went, "Oh, it'll be better where it eventually ended up."
No, you
Because
should no, then
people
you
will
no,
be able to see it. I was like, and I don't want people to see it, really.
no, Jordan. It's on your body for the rest of your life. If he goes, it would be better there. Go, yeah. Well, the tattoo gun would be better up your ass. It would be better where I want it. It's my tattoo.
But I say it's permanent. Stick to your guns, dude.
Well, imagine what he would have been like if the tattoo artist was like, "Oh, this would be better on your neck."
I went, no.
You wouldn't though. You would have went, "Oh, really? Okay."
I think the only way he would have definitely said no is if he went, ah, it would be better if it was an SA instead of an NU.
Then I would kill him.
Oh,
I think the
I would
tattoo
never
artist would
trust
be
a
better.
tattoo artist that said that.
I would
It
give them.
depends where you got a tattoo done.
I would give them the pegs would hello.
That's the thing. Please tell me that you went to Sunderland to get that tattoo, because that would be fucking marvelous.
No, I went to Bedlington.
Oh, you bastard.
Everton.
Bedlington.
No,
I wouldn't.
That would be
st-
one hell of a way to travel for an
I know.
NUFC tattoo.
I would.
But people who
wouldn't-
don't even like one.
who are basically Blue Mountains, but that's another
Oh,
point.
Jordan. Right, now
Hey.
we're insulting Everton.
We're insulting everybody. Right, shall
Let's
I get
not
back
insult
onto
anybody.
space?
Back on the spades.
Yes, before I start
Space.
insulting Scousers.
Yeah.
Don't, yeah, because
Well,
we'll be here all day.
well, right, okay, so we've
Because
talked
they're
about the
not proper
dart.
humans.
Jordan!
Sorry.
You're wearing a red top, you look like you're wearing a... Oh, man.
You said you weren't going to do it, and then you did it anyway. What's the point in pre-warning?
So then they're prepared.
That's
Hey,
the Americanism in them.
it is. I'm not going to say this, but, and then says exactly what they were going to say. Right. So we've talked about the dart and how it will explode or just impact something and redirect it and shimmy it.
Shimmy.
What is one problem with that?
If it does a 180, then it's going to redirect us.
Well, no. Other than that, what's like the main it's more of an inconvenience, but it's something that occurs, and it's something that occurs with every space launch, everything that we do in space.
It could
Pollution.
break up.
Rubbish. I'm thinking more trash. Like if
pollution.
when the dart impacts and like explodes,
Yeah, but
it's going to have all
Kyle-
the pieces floating in space. The
Kyle,
International Space Station has to dump stuff somewhere. Capsules that we eject, sometimes they don't end up back on Earth, sometimes they just float off.
you've met the human species, haven't you?
I have indeed. We are trash monkeys.
That rubbish ain't in our garden, so we don't give a shit.
Someone does.
Oh, yeah, there will be people that do, but the people that do aren't the people that are building rockets. Or
Actually,
launching
they
rockets,
are.
or in charge of launching rockets, to be honest.
The
is what I
UK
mean.
Space Agency has decided they're going to fix it.
Well, they're going to make a
They're going
dump
to
truck, fucking bin lorry.
two UK-based companies are designing missions to clear hazardous space junk alongside the launch of a new program to back cutting-edge space technology. It's the concept art is literally a box with 4 grabby claws, and it's basically going to go around collecting all the
WALL-E.
trash. We've got WALL-E in space. They're going to make WALL-E, but it's
See,
going to be
this
like
is-
a big ass shuttle, and
Do
it's
you
going
know
to collect
what?
all the trash.
This is why it's stuff like this that makes you proud to be British. Americans have been blasting shit into space and causing a mess for ages. So are the Russians. They've got a space station floating around there that is basically a bit of metal rubbish. There's so many fucking satellites up there. The Chinese have launched shit up there, satellites and stuff. There's so much rubbish up there, and the Americans have now went, you know what we really need to do? We need to make sure that if there's a meteor and it's going to wipe out the human race, that we'll stop it. And then we've went, no, what we really need to do is make Wally because he was awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a shuttle with a claw. It's going to pick up all the stuff, and the concept image that they've used, it does look like it's picking up either part of a satellite or part of the DART module because it does have an antennas and stuff like that. But it's the the two companies have been awarded 4 million from the UK Space Agency to design missions to remove existing pieces of space debris. Once the designs are complete, the teams, along with other UK companies, could receive further funding to see the UK's first national space debris removal mission to launch in 2027.
I don't know a lot about space travel.
Yes.
4 million ain't a lot.
It's not, however, the it's like a sort of baby project of see if this is possible, and then once that's done, it will gain more because
Ah.
they're saying that the project will directly support the creation of 70 jobs, further opportunities to work in the UK space sector, and uh, it'll join the already supported 47,000 jobs in the space sector, which generates an income of 16.5 billion each year. So this is like a concept thing of if you can get this working, you'll get these other contracts, you'll get more money type thing. Um, but basically, the orbital congestion and space debris is one of the biggest challenges facing the global space sector, and the UK Space Agency has committed 102 million over the next 3 years to deliver capabilities to track objects in space and reduce debris. It's also leading on global regulation and standard setting to make space activities more sustainable, in line with the government's national space strategy. It's estimated more than 130 million pieces of space debris are orbiting Earth, from tiny flecks of paint from satellites from spacecraft that have went up, to old satellites, spent rocket bodies, and even tools dropped by astronauts when they go on spacewalks, which is
Well,
apparently
that's just
common.
careless.
Yeah. The debris can stay in orbit for hundreds of years and present a real danger to satellites and the public services they deliver, as well as future space missions. So it's making sure that we can continue going to space, and we're not going to accidentally knock out a satellite by literally putting a spanner in the works that's fallen out of an astronaut's hand by sending a Wally.
I'm game for the Wallies. Sounds like a good idea. Kyle, you know what I
Yes.
did learn today? This links to space, but if you're not finished, I'll let you finish.
No, it's all good. Go for it.
It's nothing to do with astronauts or something. It's just something awesome.
That's fine.
You know the little teeny jumping spiders, the black and white ones,
The
the
absolutely
cute
tiny
ones,
ones, yeah.
the little cute ones that dart around and then jump.
Yeah.
Right. Scientists discovered. Well, actually, I think it was a young lad. It was like a 15-year-old boy or something. Had basically theorized that if they jump, because they drop down onto prey, they jump onto prey, and they have to take into account. They have to take into account that the spider must understand gravity in some form.
It must be able to know its trajectory and know it's going to reach this place, and that's all. It must understand that if it goes up, it's going to come back down.
Yeah, and where it's going to come down to work it out because they've got a really high strike rate.
Yeah.
So they've sent them this guy. I'm sure it was 14 or 15-year-old boy designed an experiment. They took some up onto the space station and tested it, right, to see, because if the gravity's different, because if it understands gravity, if the gravity's different, then it's going to miss. So the thing
Yeah.
was, is the spider going to miss every time, or is it going to learn? And they thought, well, it'll just keep missing, but it learned, and then
Yeah,
when it come
because
back, it had to relearn.
it's
But
it's an intelligent creature. It'll figure out, okay, if I want to go there and I'm jumping here and I'll end up over there, then I know that I need. The spider's not stupid.
this
Animals
is,
aren't as stupid as humans think.
dude, that isn't the best part. You know the tiny little jumping spiders?
Yes.
Apparently, if you have a green laser pen, it chases it like a cat.
Why? Does it think it's like a specific type of bug that
I
it can
don't
eat
know,
or something?
man. I think the basic theory of it is because no one knows why. They just worked out that they chase lasers like cats, which is fucking awesome. And now I want a pet jumping spider.
Yeah.
Um, The basic theory is that, like a cat, it's like almost like just grabbing its attention and mimicking prey, so then it tries to jump on it, and then obviously it's a laser, so it can't, so it just jumps to the next bit.
Yeah,
But
fair
I
enough.
want to find a jumping spider now. I used to see them all the time. I haven't seen one for like 2 years.
To be fair, we
I've
had
got
one at the
lasers for the
office.
cats, so I'll keep one on us all the time just in case I see a jumping spider.
We had one at the office the other day. I don't know if it was an actual jumping spider, but it was sitting on the desk, and whenever
Did
we
it jump?
tried to pick it up, it tried to fucking jump off the fucking thing.
It's a jumping spider. It's
Yeah,
the black and white ones that look like
it was
zebras.
like
Little
absolutely
cute
fucking
ones.
tiny.
They got the little cute. They got the two little eyes and then the two little teeny eyes, like the little cute spider animation thing.
Lucas,
Yeah.
you know that's not on YouTube anymore. That's an actual TV thing now. I always knew it as like a little YouTube skit that an
Oh,
animator made with his little cousin, and then my mom turned the TV on the other day, and it was on fucking TV.
oh, it was getting paid for it. That was awesome.
I hope so too. But like, I didn't realize it got that big. I knew it was YouTube big, but I didn't realize it had
Yeah, I
gotten
didn't
that
know.
big. But apparently, they decided to make an actual fucking thing out of it.
I want to jump. I want to pet jumping spider.
I want to pet jumping spider now. You twat. I mean, you would lose it constantly because it's absolutely fucking
Oh,
tiny.
no, just shine a light and then it'll come and attack it. Laser.
True. Ooh,
The spider whisperer.
you know how we have often talked about energy and the fact that nuclear energy is by far the cleanest. It just needs to be regulated properly. It needs to be maintained and kept safe properly.
Yes.
So wind turbines, solar, all that sort of stuff. Nuclear beats it by a country mile for everything to do with output, input, everything. It's just it needs to be carefully regulated. It needs to be kept safe. It needs to not be Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Chernobyl was only an issue when it caught fire, to be fair.
Exactly. Well, apparently since the 60s, countries have been trying to invent a nuclear aircraft, with most countries giving up, deciding that the hardest factor of it wouldn't be regulating or safety or anything. It would be creating enough shielding where the passengers and the pilot doesn't get extreme radiation blasts and ends up fucking mutated by the time they land.
Yeah.
Apparently, someone has decided to pick up this fucking this torch, and as of 2022, they've decided to create a concept plane, which is a nuclear powered plane that would carry 170 passengers at more than 3 times the speed of sound.
I mean, it's quite impressive.
It's called the Hypersting, and it's been dreamt up by Spanish designer Oscar Vinales. The aircraft would be nearly twice as fast as Concorde and much bigger, and he believes this concept is feasible but requires technological advances first. So basically, what he's admitting is everybody before him since the 60s was right, it's not possible yet. So I'm not too sure how this ended up being in the news, but I just love the fact that it's something that we seem to keep on going back to ever since we discovered nuclear power and stuff. People have been going, can we turn it into a plane though?
You technically can.
And every single time they've realised, no, it would be very unsafe and people would die. But let's get back to it in another 10 years.
I would like to point out, since you're talking about nuclear power,
Yes.
and I don't know if you know about this, I've just had to Google it to find out what the name is.
Yes.
But there is a very specific power station in France, and since this week only Jordan's insulting people and we're not, I'm just going to say that I applaud the French for this. This is brilliant. This is the kind of thing that we would do if we could, right?
Okay.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if we did this, if we could do this, we'd probably do it to France. But would you like to Google, right, the EDF nuclear power plant Choose, CHOOZ? And there is a reason,
CHOOZ. Why?
because if you look at the map and you look where it is brilliant. It is in La Centrale Choose in France. I mean, you'll see what I mean if you get I've got to go on Google Maps here, and it's just brilliant.
It's on its own little island.
It's
In a
not on
lake.
its own little island. Would you like to zoom out? Well, I mean,
from
it is, but
from the image, it looks
kind
like
of.
it's basically in a little island in a lake,
No, so it's
in
in
amongst
the
some
bend.
hills.
It's in the bend of a river, but if you zoom out a little bit, are you on Google Maps?
Oh, okay, yeah, it's right on the border with Belgium.
It's not just right on the border with Belgium. It's a bit of France that extends up a few hundred kilometers into Belgium, so it's basically surrounded on three sides by Belgium.
It
The
was
one here,
created. It
the
was
one here's a tiny
legitimately
little bit of
fucking.
France that we own. This is mostly surrounded by Belgium. Put the power plant there. Fuck them.
It legitimately is. It's in case this melts down, we'll just give this bit of land back to Belgium and say that it wasn't us.
That is brilliant. I applaud that. From the
I
French.
applaud that.
If you're French, you've
That
done
is
a good job there.
genius.
If you
For
zoom out,
anybody
so you can see
wanting
the
to
whole.
look,
It's so far into Belgium. It's ridiculous. Which bit's the furthest? Which bit of France can we build this on? That's the furthest away from France. Well, we've got this bit that goes a few hundred miles into Belgium. Deal.
We'll do it.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing that a while ago, and I just thought when you were talking about power plants, I just thought that you know what, that's brilliant.
I thought it was just like because it looks like it's situated on its own little island. I wasn't sure if you were going to say they made a man-made island just for that, so that if it melts down, it just sinks down or some shit.
No, it's just in a bend in the river, but they went fuck out to put it right in Belgium.
I fucking love it. Whoever had that idea deserves a fucking medal.
Now, if we had a land border with France, that's exactly the kind of shit we would do to them.
It is 100%. That is exactly what we would do.
That's well played. That is well played.
I know that the Japanese have got one where it's legitimately next to a tourist beach, so you can sit on a tourist beach and it looks picturesque as fuck until you look to the left and see a power plant.
Looks picturesque.
Picturesque. Sorry. Yes, shut up. But it's the fact that you're on this lovely beach. You've got this like lake and it looks absolutely lovely. You look to your left and you've just got this massive monstrosity of power plant, which has survived 2 fucking earthquakes, by the way.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
that is how you do a power plant properly. I commend every power plant so far that hasn't had a meltdown, has managed to survive earthquakes and like all the other natural disasters and shit like that, because you're doing good.
But they're getting better designed.
They
And they're
are.
more
They
efficient
are.
than like coal power plants and stuff like that, and they're cleaner. They don't pollute as much. Unless
That's
they're exploding, and they kind of pollute more nuclearly. If
they
that's a word.
do. More nuclear.
But we'll gloss over that.
Oh, nuclear.
Okay.
It's nothing a concrete dome and a few thousand dead people can't fix.
Oh God.
Dude,
It's true, but come on.
I need to find a thing that I can't find, but I'm gonna find it because I can find it, but I can't find it. But I'll try and find it. I've got it saved somewhere because I wanted to talk to you about it at some point because it's
Is this the
audible.
coffin
No,
in that is from sorry, that went down wrong. There
it's
is
okay.
a concrete dome that was made for
I found it.
nuclear waste, nicknamed the coffin, and it's a
I thought it
bomb
was called the
crater.
sarcophagus.
No, it's called the coffin, and it's a
Ah.
bomb crater filled with radioactive soil on a tiny island in the Marshall Islands.
Oh, that's because the US literally nucleated the shit out of it, and then people worry because it's literally on a sand island that literally the sand underneath's going to erode and it's all going to go to the ocean.
Yeah,
Because America.
it's where they tested a series of nuclear weapons off the coast of basically off the Bikini and the Enwatake atolls, which the Bikini Atoll flag is still the best flag by far.
Yeah.
But it apparently the radioactive soil sits under a 350-foot wide concrete lid known as the Runnet Dome, which is the nuclear coffin.
Yeah. So I found it. I found what I was going to talk to you about.
Yes.
This is a guy called Dude. I believe it's Hishashi Uchi.
One
Hishashi
second.
Uchi. But no, because his surname looks like it's Ouchi. It's Ouchi.
Oh
which
yeah,
is
oh yeah, Hisashi Uchi. Is that the one
right.
who survived two nuclear blasts?
No, it's not. This is worse.
Okay. Oh, the
So,
radioactive man kept. What?
yeah, so no, well, get off. I'm going to read it.
Okay, I'm off. I'm off.
It
Hands
says
off.
after a fateful accident at Japanese Tokaimura nuclear power plant in '99, Hisashi Uchi lost most of his skin. So,
Yeah, that sounds painful.
he arrived at the University of Tokyo Hospital after being exposed to the highest level of radiation of any human in history. Doctors were stunned that the 35-year-old nuclear power plant technician had almost zero white blood cells in his body and thus no immune system. The nuclear
Ow.
accident began before noon on September 30th, 1999, at the nuclear power plant in Tokaimura, Japan. With an obscene lack of safety measures and an abundance of fatal shortcuts, yet determined to meet a deadline, the Japan Nuclear Fuel Station Company told Uchi and two other workers to mix a new batch of fuel. The three men were untrained in the process and mixed their materials by hand, then accidentally poured 7 times the amount of uranium into an improper tank. Uchi was standing directly over the vessel as gamma rays flooded the room. While the plant and local villagers were evacuated, Uchi's unprecedented ordeal had just begun. Kept in a special radiation ward to protect him from hospital-borne pathogens, Hisashi Uchi leaked fluids and cried for his mother. He regularly flatlined from heart attacks only to be revived at the insistence of his family. His only escape would be a final cardiac arrest 83 days later.
I, I, I'm, I'm sorry, but like he's in that much pain. He's
Yeah,
constantly having strokes and deaths and stuff. Why is his family constantly reviving him? Surely they should. If he's got no skin, he's got no immune system. He's going to be confined to that room. Chances are he's never going to get an immune system back due to the radiation. He's going to die eventually. He's in mass pain. He's confined to that room. Surely you
yeah.
would just say, let him go.
I mean, it's this is from an article from a website that's called All That's Interesting. By the way, if anyone wants to look it up. It says the power plant location in Tokaimura was ideal due to the abundant land space, and it led to a whole campus of nuclear reactors, research institutes, and fuel enrichment and disposal facilities. Ultimately, one-third of the city's entire population would rely on the nuclear industry. Locals looked on in horror as an explosion at the power plant rocked Tokaimura on March the 11th, 1997. Dozens of people were irradiated before a government cover-up was launched to hide negligence. However, the gravity of that event would be dwarfed 2 years later. The plant uranium hexafluoride converted uranium hexafluoride into enriched uranium for nuclear energy purposes, and it was typically done with a careful multi-step process that involves mixing several elements in a carefully timed sequence. So there's a proper process.
Yeah, where obviously it must be. You can't just go willy nilly play having fun in a sandpit with radioactive materials. It has to be specific.
Yeah. So it says in '99, officials had begun experimenting to see if skipping some of those steps could make the process faster. Already a bad idea.
Yeah,
But it had caused them to miss the September the 20th deadline for generating fuel. So I don't know how they've done that. They went if we skip steps, this will make it faster, and then skip the steps and went, hold on, now it's for deadline. I don't understand that.
I think it's
What I
that they
mean.
were researching, trying to do it quicker, and in doing
Yeah.
that, they basically halted the production of what was normal,
Yeah.
which is just dumb.
So it says on September the 28th, around 10 a.m. on September the 30th, sorry, Hisashi Uchi, his 29-year-old peer Misato Shinohara, and their 54-year-old supervisor Yutaka Yokokawa tried a shortcut. But none of them had any idea what they were doing. Instead of using automatic pumps to mix 5.3 pounds of enriched uranium with nitric acid in a designed vessel, they used their hands to pour 35 pounds into some steel buckets. At 10:35 a.m., that uranium reached critical mass. The room exploded with a blue flash that confirmed that a nuclear chain reaction had occurred and that it was releasing lethal emissions of radiation. And this is how Hisashi Uchi became the most radioactive man in history. The plant was immediately evacuated as Hisashi Uchi and his colleagues were taken to the National Institute of Radiological Sciences in Chiba. They had all been directly exposed to the radiation, but came out of their proximity. But because of their proximity to the fuel, they were irradiated at different degrees. Exposure to more than 7 sieverts of radiation is considered fatal. Right. The
Yeah,
supervisor So Yokokawa was exposed to 3 and would be the only one in the group to survive.
Right.
Shinohara was exposed to 10.
And he
So
was the next
seven.
step away. He wasn't as close, I'm guessing, as
Yeah,
the
so
main guy.
it was 10. 7's fatal.
Yeah.
Uchi, who stood directly over the steel bucket as it exploded, was exposed to 17 sieverts. So more than
Damn.
double what's fatal. His exposure was the most radiation that any human being has ever suffered. He had been in immediate pain and could barely breathe. By the time he arrived at the hospital, he had already vomited violently and fallen unconscious. His radiation burns covered his entire body and his eyes were leaking blood. The most dire was his lack of white blood cells and the absence of an immune response at all. Doctors placed him in a special ward to prevent infection and amass the damage to his critical organs. 3 days later, he was transferred to the University of Tokyo, where revolutionary stem cell procedures would be tested. In his first week in intensive care, it involved countless skin grafts and blood transfusions. A cell transplant specialist, Hisamura Hirai, next suggested a revolutionary approach that had never been tried on radiation victims before: stem cell transplants. These would rapidly restore Uchi's ability to generate new blood. The approach would be much faster than bone marrow transplants, while Uchi's sister donating her own stem cells. Disturbingly, the method appeared to work before he returned to his state of near death. Photographs of Uchi's chromosomes show them completely decimated. The profuse amount of radiation coursing through his blood eradicated the introduced cells, and images of Hishachi Uchi show that the skin grafts could not even hold because his DNA couldn't physically rebuild itself.
So they tried all this stuff, but because of the radiation, as soon as he got any new cells, it would just destroy it. As
He,
soon as he got a skin graft, it would just tear itself off because his body would reject it.
Basically, his DNA was so damaged that his cells weren't even cells; they were basically liquefying and falling apart. He apparently cried out, "I can't take it anymore. I am not a guinea pig." But at the family's insistence, the doctors continued their experimental treatments, even as his skin began to melt from his body. Then, on Uchi's 59th day in the hospital, he had a heart attack, but his family agreed that he should be resuscitated in case of death, so the doctors revived him. He would eventually have 3 heart attacks in 1 hour. With his DNA obliterated and brain damage increasing every time he died, Uchi's fate had long been sealed. It was only a merciful final cardiac arrest due to multi-organ failure on December the 21st, 1999 that released him from the pain. So they kept the guy alive for like, what was it? How many days? I did say before.
83.
83 days, was it? Or something
Yeah,
like that.
83.
Yeah, 83
Yeah.
days. I mean,
That's just no good, man. I know there's a town in Japan where they're saying people can move back there because it was where there was a nuclear accident or like a nuclear bomb or something, and
yeah.
people have started to, like, some of the locals have went back because it was declared safe, but people went there with the Vidas and it was like levels where humans shouldn't be there for the next 20 years type thing. But it's not often you hear someone get blasted with radiation where it's just been an accident of someone saying mix these chemicals together faster.
Well, yeah, but still. I mean, in some ways that's worse, isn't it?
That's
If
what you get
if
for cutting corners, basically.
yeah. It says the immediate aftermath saw 310,000 villagers within 6 miles of the Tokai facility ordered to stay indoors for 24 hours. Over the next 10 days, 10,000 people were checked for radiation, with more than 600 suffering low levels. None suffers as much as Ushi and his colleague Shinohara. Shinohara spent 7 months fighting for his life. He too would receive blood stem cell transfusions. In his case, doctors took them from the umbilical cord of a newborn. Tragically, neither that approach nor skin grafts, blood transfusions, or cancer treatments had worked, and he died of lung and liver failure on April 27th, 2000. So the other guy survived 3 months. And then the supervisor, Yokokawa, was released after 3 months of treatment. He had suffered minor radiation sickness and survived, but he faced criminal charges of negligence in October 2000. The nuclear power plant, meanwhile, would pay $121 million to settle 6,875 compensation claims that affected locals. And the nuclear power plant continued to operate under a different company for more than a decade until it shut down automatically during the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. and it's not operated since, so it automatically shut itself down during a tsunami. So it would have been like a safety protocol. But yeah,
Yeah,
I found out about him a while ago, and it's unbelievable.
it really is. I think we'll call it there for tonight then, with stupidity of nuclear levels and the space race and the fact that we are getting a space Wally, hopefully, thanks to the UK Space Agency.
I do have many more nuclear accidents. They aren't all nuclear power station failures and stuff like that, so they're quite interesting. I've got a good few of them, so we can talk about that some other time
So maybe next episode might be a nuclear episode, we shall see.
if you want it.
But thank you very much for listening. It has been a pleasure, and thank you very much for joining us, Jordan and Stefan, and everybody else in the world.
Are you thanking us for joining you, or them for joining us?
Them for joining us, and you guys for joining me. So, thank everybody. Why not?
Why not?
Exactly. But anyway, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you all, and hopefully you will hear us all next time. Bye.
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 Can you sound any more enthusiastic, Jordan?
Bye.
Bye.